Come here. Let this be the place you stop for a moment. Not the place you pass through on the way to somewhere more important, not the preparation for the real arrival. This place, this moment, let it be the one that gets your full weight, your full presence, your full willingness to receive something that has been waiting to reach you for longer than you know. Take a breath, a real one, the kind that moves everything, and be here. I want to say something to you that is so simple it is going to feel at first like it cannot possibly be as important as I am suggesting it is. It is going to feel familiar in the way that things we have heard many times but never actually received feel familiar. It is going to feel like something you already know. And I want you to stay with it anyway, because knowing something in your mind and having it land in your body are two entirely different experiences. And what I want to offer you today is the second one. Here it is. You are enough. Right now. As you are. In this specific moment, in this specific life, with every part of you that is finished and every part of you that is still in process, with every achievement you have accumulated and every goal that is still approaching, with every quality you are proud of and every quality you have been working on and every quality you haven't gotten to yet. Enough. Right now, without condition, without amendment, without the asterisk that says enough for now, but there is still the matter of these specific things you need to address before the enough becomes fully, securely, unqualifiedly real. I know the asterisk. I know how long you have been living with it. The asterisk is the thing that makes enough feel perpetually conditional. That makes the ground beneath your feet feel stable in most directions, but slightly soft in one or two specific places. The places where the insufficiency lives, where you look and feel the particular quality of not quite there, not quite done, not quite enough yet, in this particular way that feels like the important way. And the asterisk moves. You know it moves. Every time you address one of the specific insufficiencies, every time you close one of the gaps, every time you work hard enough on one of the not quites that it resolves into something you can stop worrying about. The asterisk does not disappear. It relocates. It finds a new home in the next insufficiency, the next gap, the next version of the way you are not quite enough yet. Because the asterisk was never about the specific insufficiency. The specific insufficiency is just where it is currently living. The asterisk itself. The fundamental, deep, pre-verbal sense that your enoughness is contingent, that it requires maintenance, that it can be lost if the right conditions are not maintained, that lives somewhere deeper than any specific gap. It lives in the foundation, in the operating assumption beneath all the work, beneath all the striving, beneath all the genuine and sincere effort to become more and better and different. And no amount of closing specific gaps will dissolve it, because it is not located in the gaps. It is located in the assumption that gaps are evidence of insufficiency rather than simply evidence of being a human being in the process of a life. Let me tell you where the asterisk came from, not your specific one. I don't know the details of your history, but the general architecture of how it arrives, because it arrives in the same basic way for almost everyone. At some point, probably early, you received information that your worth was conditional, not through a single dramatic conversation where someone sat you down and explained the conditions. Through the ambient experience of living in a world where the love and the approval and the attention and the safety were distributed unevenly, where they arrived more reliably when you were performing in specific ways and less reliably when you were not, when you were achieving, when you were behaving, when you were being the version of yourself that the people around you most rewarded. When you were quiet when quiet was required and articulate when articulation was required, and low maintenance when low maintenance was required, and impressive when impressive was required. In those moments, the love and the approval and the sense of being seen and valued flowed more freely. And in the other moments, the messy moments, the failing moments, the too much moments, the not enough moments, the moments of simply being a human child who had not yet figured out how to perform sufficiently, the flow was reduced. The lesson your developing consciousness drew was not, the adults around me are imperfect people navigating their own limitations. The lesson was, my worth is variable. It fluctuates. It is higher when I perform well and lower when I do not. And because it is variable, it requires management. It requires the ongoing effort of maintaining the performance at a level sufficient to keep the worth within the acceptable range. That lesson became the operating system. And the operating system produces the asterisk, the constant low-level monitoring of whether the performance is still sufficient, whether the enoughness is still intact, whether the worth is currently in the acceptable range, or whether something needs to be addressed. And you have been running that operating system ever since, genuinely, intelligently, with real dedication. Running it not because you chose it consciously, but because it was installed before you were old enough to question what was being installed. But it is not the truth of you. It is a learned system running in the place of a deeper truth, obscuring the deeper truth, making the deeper truth feel unavailable or naive or insufficiently realistic. The deeper truth is this: your worth is not variable. It is not higher on good days and lower on bad ones. It is not increased by achievement and decreased by failure. It is not the sum of your best qualities minus the deficit of your worst ones. It is not a score maintained by ongoing performance. Your worth is a constant. It is the unchanging, foundational, structural fact of your existence as a conscious being in this universe. It does not fluctuate, it cannot be earned, because it was never absent in the first place. It cannot be lost, because it is not located in your behavior or your achievements or your qualities or your performance. It is located in the irreducible fact that you are here, that you are conscious, that you exist. This is not a comforting philosophy. It is a description of how worth actually works at its most fundamental level, beneath all the conditional frameworks that human cultures have overlaid on top of it. Every tradition, every wisdom lineage, every serious inquiry into the nature of the self arrives at the same conclusion by different routes. The worth of a being is not earned. It is inherent. It is the baseline from which everything else proceeds, not the summit toward which everything else aspires. You did not arrive in this life as a neutral entity that would need to accumulate enough good qualities to become worthy. You arrived as something complete, not complete in the sense of having nothing left to learn or grow or develop. That kind of completion is not available to living beings and is not what I am describing. Complete in the sense of being fully and entirely yourself, with a worth that required no addition to become real. The work of your life, the growth, the development, the becoming, is not the construction of worth. It is the expression of a worth that was always already there. The difference between those two things is not subtle. It changes the entire quality of how you move through your life, how you engage with the work of becoming, what it means when you fall short, and what it means when you succeed. If worth is constructed through performance, then every failure is a reduction and every success is a recovery. The baseline is insufficiency, and the goal is to stay above it through sustained effort. If worth is inherent, then every failure is simply a failure. Informative, possibly painful, requiring attention and response, but not a commentary on your fundamental adequacy. And every success is the expression of something that was already present, not the creation of something that was not. That second relationship with yourself is available to you. It is not naive. It is not the luxury of someone who has not encountered real difficulty. It is available in the full knowledge of everything you have encountered, including the moments of genuine failure and genuine inadequacy and genuine distance from the person you want to be. It is available not because those things didn't happen, but because they never, even at their worst, touched the actual foundation. Feel what is in your chest right now as I say this. Not the thought about it, the feeling, the response in your body to the possibility that you are enough right now. Not in spite of the things that feel unfinished, but simply, cleanly, without qualification, enough. That the asterisk was never valid. That the conditions the asterisk required were never actual requirements for the real thing. There is something that wants to open. Something that has been slightly compressed for a very long time by the pressure of maintaining the performance, by the ongoing vigilance of someone who does not entirely trust that the floor will hold without constant attention. Let it open, not with force, with the simple, quiet, honest acknowledgement that the floor is not the performance. The floor is your worth, which is constant, which has never been at risk, which will be there tomorrow regardless of what today produces. You have been working so hard to stay above a line that does not exist, to remain sufficient in the face of an insufficiency that was never real, to close gaps that were never the actual location of the problem. The problem was never the gaps. The problem was the belief that gaps made you insufficient, and the belief was not true. Let me say the simplest version of everything I want to say to you, as directly as I can. You are enough. You are enough right now. You have been enough every day of your life, on the good days and the bad days, in the seasons of momentum and the seasons of stall, when you were proud of yourself and when you were not, when the evidence was cooperating and when it was not, when you were close to the person you want to be and when the gap felt enormous. Every single day, every single moment, enough. Not enough to stop growing, not enough to stop caring about becoming more of who you want to be. The enough I am describing is not complacency, and it is not an excuse to stay exactly where you are forever. It is the foundation from which genuine growth becomes possible, the secure, unshakable foundation of someone who is growing from wholeness rather than toward it. Growth from wholeness is sustainable. It is joyful. It is the genuine expression of a being who wants to expand because expansion is the natural movement of life, not because they are escaping from an insufficiency that will catch them if they slow down. You have been running from insufficiency. I want to invite you to stop, not because the running has produced nothing. It has produced real things. But because the running was always toward a destination that cannot be reached by running, because you were running away from something that was not actually chasing you. The insufficiency was not real. The enough was always real. The floor was always there. Stop and feel it under your feet. The solid, unchanging, completely reliable fact of your own worth. Present regardless of what the day produced. Present regardless of what the evidence shows. Present regardless of whether you performed sufficiently by whatever measure you have been using to assess the performance. Present right now, in this moment, as the background truth of who you are. You are enough. You were always enough. The asterisk was never valid. Let it go, not through effort, through the simple recognition that it was attached to something that isn't there. You are enough. Right now. Completely. Without condition. Rest in that.